For this episode of World Park, I have some good news and some bad news. Good news, we're adding velociraptors. So that'll be fun. The bad news is that this could be the last episode of World Park. If you've been following the series, you know that we're nowhere near done with the park. Why is that? Because, well, the console can no longer handle the game. It's crashing every two or 3 minutes. It's just becoming unbearable to play. And I was unable to build anything more than this. I edited so much out of this video. It crashed over 30 times. And oh, there it already crashed again. And it stopped autosaving at a certain point. Recording wasn't working for a while. Here we are back again. But I went ahead and did this layout of these 3 exhibits. Well, 4 exhibits. We are going to finish those today. But you'll see at the end what's gonna happen. I don't know if World Park will be finished. Hopefully it will, but for now, I'm gonna try to do things to get it to work. But it's likely that this will be the last of World Park. So off to the sides, I'm building a guest section to the left and the right of the monorails. There's the raptor fence, is that one with the pattern on the front, which I like that for the guest view. The river cuts through this whole section. Right there is going to be a bridge, was supposed to be going to be a bridge that will lead into the Africa section. I'm coloring the entire bottom with sand to make it a unique biome. Since this is a drained lake, it makes sense that there, well, kind of, that there would be sand down here, and that helps it feel deserty. As best a desert you can make with this biome. So I'm just going to go ahead and basically fill in the entire lake basin. Which took a bit of time, so I'm going to cut some of it out. You can see how the river cuts through the raptor exhibit, and I used the electrified fence there instead of the concrete, just where it cuts across. The concrete fence is really good. It's so versatile. I feel like it's one of the most important pieces in building parks is to use that. Of course, I understand how lots of people wouldn't want to use that. That's a personal preference on whether you like using that or not. But let's see. I think I'll fast forward this. It is a pretty big space, so I do think there's room to fit Africa in here also. But there's so many good species from Asia that we didn't include in the section and weren't going to be included. There's just so many that it was really hard to decide. I'm adding some rock clusters to the central exhibit. We're going to have, well, I'll show you in a minute the species we're going to add. I hadn't decided yet, largely because there's so many good species. This one I'm trying to create an isolated center, sort of, that's harder to see from the viewing gallery. So it's like the animals can come around the bend. And I'm using the cycads because I think that they're the most deserty plants that we have, so those are the plants for this whole section. At first I used the alpine trees there, but then I switched. I didn't do as much rock work in this one. I didn't like the rock work here, but those mountains did need something. And the gray rock texture didn't work very well. It'd be nice to have all-terrain paints, though. Here I did, replaced some cycads. More cycads. This exhibit, I wasn't quite sure what to do because it's very linear. There was, I had a hard time with this exhibit. I ended up just doing a little bit of terrain difference here. But I feel like that exhibit still was too empty. Now we're going to do the raptor exhibit. Here, same idea as the other 4, trying to keep a consistency themed, which I think this continent has a pretty good theme. We'd be using the red flags once we would start decorating. At first, as you see where the river puts out into a lake, I was at first going to make that a fence, and I tried it, but I didn't like it. So I decided to do an aviary there, which was going to have some Eurypteryx, Geolopterus, and Therizinosaurus. But we didn't end up adding the species because, well, as I said, this might be the end of World Park, which is sad because I've never not finished a park before. Hopefully we can come back to this one day. I feel like since this is the first park build, I'm setting a precedent that I don't finish park builds, but I've never not finished a park except the 2 times that I've overwritten a save file. Well, one time the park was already finished, so really just one other time. And that was because I didn't want to redo 8 hours of work. And, so at first I was going to put a viewing platform, but I didn't like that, so I just did an aviary viewing gallery again, because this wasn't big enough for a tour. Which I do feel like we're using this too much. I put it on the other side, so guests have to cross the bridge to go see it. There's the hatchery. No ranger post couldn't go in there, but I'm adding some ranger posts to make it look like exhibits. Here's our species. We have Centaurosaurus and Sinosauropteryx on the left exhibit, Chingosaurus in the center, and Dinocyrus on the right. So we're going to go ahead and transport some of these out. So there's Dinocyrus and the one with the viewing dome. Let's take a look at the raptors here. I used the Lost World Raptors, just 3 of them. I usually don't use the Lost World Raptors. I think this may be... Well, I've used them, of course, just to test them out. But I think this may be the first time I've used them in a full-scale park build. There, it crashed again. Here, this is on 1 times speed instead of 5 times, so you can just see how bad the frame rate is at this point. It was just... I could not finish this park. I think I was... Like, the console was saying it cannot do this. A lot of path work here that I don't really like. Lots of extra empty space around the edges, which was quite annoying. Lots of annoying clipping and empty spots, which could have been fixed by decoration. But we don't get to decoration in this episode because, as I will reiterate again, the park does not get finished. You can also get a view into the Dinocyrus exhibit from that section of electrified fence there, which I know that guests can't actually do that in the game, but yes they can because they have eyes. And this is my sandbox park. At the end of this, we're basically going to film the rest of the map with trees. Since... yeah. It crashed, I think, a total of 23 times during this build. And I tried to, like, skip through it, and I gave up. First, I was trying to find a way around this monorail here without deleting the pillars, but I didn't have enough space here, and then I decided that I like it here if all the pillars are deleted, because then it gives the feel of the guests, like the monorail's, that giant train is going unsupported right over their head, and it's like, ooh, is it going to follow me? And it looks good from a distance to be over this, what would be a very decorated section, where all the viewing domes are. And I had some problem with the path here. Okay, so there we go. At this point, I felt like I wasn't even in control of what I was selecting because it was so behind or so ahead. So for this section, what I wanted to do is I used the classic facility path to outline it. That's the small Jurassic Park one that's new. Then I used the luxury Jurassic World path to fill in specific sections. And then the main fill-in, I used classic luxury path. So that's connecting the viewing domes and the viewing galleries path. I did a thing here. I don't know what that was going to end up being, but I didn't want to just fill in this whole section of the path. And I decided to fill it in all the way. There's our centaurs if you want to see them. Centosaurus I don't use it a lot. It's not a very remarkable Hadrosaur, in my opinion. But I do think it worked really well for this exhibit. And there's nothing wrong with it, really. And I felt like using a species that I wouldn't use all the time. Which is also why I use Sauropelta, because Sauropelta is a really cool dinosaur, but not in the game. Its design is not that great. Let's see. That's actually a pretty good view. I might take a screenshot of that. Okay, there. Here, you can see the raptors again. Actually, no. We're going to transport out the Sauropeltas and the Sinosauropteryx. Sinos are going to take a long time. And when I was transporting out the Sinos, that's the point where it started to crash over and over and over and over and over. Which it took a really long time to transport out the Sinos, because every time I'd load back in, I'd have to send them out again. And sometimes when I'd load back in the game, it would crash instantly before I could even move the cursor or place anything. See, I had to redo that. Or maybe I just placed the clips out of order. I don't know. No, this is where I had to redo it. Oh, facing through each other. But there's our Chunjosaurus. A lot of people really like Chunjosaurus, and I don't dislike it, but I just don't really find it particularly remarkable compared to the other medium theropods we have. But that's a really nice skin. I don't remember what I picked. Alright, so here I just filled the rest of the valley to make it look natural, and this is where I was at last resort after dozens of crashes. We're making it look like it's under construction, so if we don't ever come back to this part, it will look like... It makes sense that it's incomplete. It'll be like they haven't finished building the park yet, which is also why there's no guests. I closed the park to help with the frame rate. It helps for about 5 minutes. Alright. Fit this backup generator in. So basically I'm just placing cages and supply piles, lots of cranes and crates all around, just to help it look like it's still being worked on. I placed some like rows of decorations that are like yet to be placed, and I tried to place rows of rocks, but every time I placed a rock, it made the game crash, so that didn't happen. But that works really well if you are trying to make an under construction area. Use the rocks, turn off randomized rotation so they all look like they're the same fake rock, and put them in like a very neat row outside of an exhibit that's under construction. But really, it's the cranes that sell this whole area as under construction. Lots and lots of blue crates. I added white crates at first, and then when I went to add the other color of crates, the blue crates, it crashed. And then I added the blue crates this time. When I tried to add the white crates, it crashed. So we just ended up with blue crates. And lots of cranes. The cranes are what really makes it look under construction. Did I already say that? Or did I just think that? I don't remember. I'm very sorry about not finishing this part for anyone who was watching. There may be a way I can come back to it. We will see. Alright, let's speed build here. And, oh, this is also something I like to do. Make pile for an under construction area. Use things like snow or sand, things that are like fine textures. Like, it wouldn't work for the rock texture. Make a little mound, and put that outside the exhibit. It works better if the base terrain is not whatever you're placing. This really only works for snow and sand, I think. Or dirt, it would work for dirt too. And this looks like they're gonna spread the sand throughout the exhibit to provide that terrain as artificial. And I like how that works. There I did sand, which doesn't work as well since the ground is already sand. But I wanted to do snow, even though snow doesn't really make sense for this exhibit. I wanted to have another pile, so I put the snow over here by the aviary. So I'm just gonna wrap this up. Thank you to everyone who watched this series and kept up with it. I hope to grow this channel more. After this, I'm planning to do less Evolution 2 on the channel. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't want to do less Evolution 2. I want to do more of other stuff. Like, I'm going to make lots of videos just on Jurassic Park and the Jurassic franchise. Informational videos, that kind of things. I'm planning to do a lot of those. There will still be plenty of Jurassic World Evolution 2 and other dinosaur games. Like, I think that the Jurassic Park build I'm just going to do in 3 long episodes instead of 8 short episodes. Which I want to try that and try doing... See, this is where I was trying to place the rocks and it crashed. I want to see how just working with a shorter series with longer episodes, if that would do better or not. Also, I'm going to experiment more with trying to make videos that you guys want to watch. I don't really know what the algorithm wants me to do and what you guys want me to do. Here, I just filled in the map with nature, trees, a few rocks, some water. Crashed twice just by placing this. And now we're going to tranquilize all the dinosaurs that have phased through fences and transport them back to their exhibit. There were still a few loose compies in the end because, well, the compies are really hard to tranquilize, even with the increased, better aim. The ACU still cannot tranquilize them. There were 4 more crashes during this. I think this is the last time that I did it that you're seeing here. The part keeps automatically opening. If any of you know why it does that, I've never known for sure why it does that. And I'm moving the Metrocanthosaurus back to its right exhibit because it phased into the Baryonyx exhibit. There's a Montosaurus. You won't see it in this video, but I added a gate to connect that to the big safari zone. Thank you all for watching.